project is inspired by one of my favorite artists at the moment. Her name is Emily Jeffords, and she primarily works with oil paint, but she also works with watercolor. And so she has a series that she is calling Watercolor Botanical Paintings. And so this project that I'm going to show you uses watercolor, but you can do it with any sort of media. The main thing is that we are going to be playing with positive and negative space. Since I'm doing watercolor, I'm using a thick watercolor piece of paper, and then you will need something to trace. We are going to be tracing the shadows of whatever object you decide to choose. This is a fake flower. I don't know what kind of flower this is. Little fuzzy things. So this is what I will be tracing. You're going to need some light, so I have some really bright overhead light that I'm going to use. And then you're going to need something to mount this over so that you get some shadows. I don't know if you guys can see that. And you're going to want to play around with the shadows. Ooh, cool. Right, and then the other thing you need, if you're doing watercolor, obviously your watercolor paints, but you'll need a pencil for sure to trace, and then whatever other material you want to use for your project. Okay, so now at this point, I am done tracing, but I have also gone through and made sure that my whole drawing is one big drawing. You want to make sure that you don't have any lines crossing over. Okay, so now that you are done drawing that, now it's time to add color. So again, you don't have to do this with watercolor. If you want, you can use crayon, colored pencil, oil pastel, markers, whatever it is that you have at home. I'm going to be using watercolor. So if you're using watercolor, it can be a little bit intimidating, but what you're going to do first is you're going to get some water on your paintbrush. And I'm going to choose this one area right here so that you guys can see. And I'm going to kind of paint with my water. The area I am painting with water is the negative space. So negative space is the space around your positive space, and your positive space is your subject area or the area of focus. So I'm going to make a pool of water around this area, and I'm using a small brush because this is a really small area. Okay, so then I'm going to my watercolor. I'm going to make this monochromatic, so one color, and I'm going to stick with blue. So I have my water on the paper and I have my watercolor on here, and I'm going to just tap, and you're going to see the color start to move. You want it to move more, you're going to move it around. And so my watercolor is moving around and traveling to the areas where I put water. And you're going to kind of just play around with it. You can move it. Ooh. Not really adding new color. I kind of want the watercolor to do its own thing, so it creates this really pretty kind of mixing. So I am going to go ahead and do the rest of this. I left my watercolor to dry for a little bit while I went to go do some other things. And so it looks like this. If you look at it really up close, I don't know if you guys can tell, but there are still some pencil marks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my eraser. You want to do this when it is completely dry. Because if it's not completely dry, you try and do this to it, you will rip your paper. So now I'm able to go through here really quickly because I'm not worried about it being wet. Alright, so here you go. Here's my piece.